Hey, what's up, guys? This is FieryKobe, and I just got done watching this weekend the GFINITY event that took place in London, and there were some amazing matches that I saw. Uh, the top four teams from the US were invited. This was an invite-only tournament. There was Optic, Complexity, Impact, and Envious. Now the format was a little different than the typical pro tournaments, MLG tournaments. This was more like soccer, where you have like Group A, B, C, D. In this case, there was only two groups, A and B, and it was a round robin, so meaning that you could play each team in your group, and the top four teams made it out of that group. So basically, one team got eliminated from each group, and the top eight that were seeded accordingly, 1 through 8, and then it was the more typical tournament layout, except this was single elimination. There was no losers bracket. So congratulations to Complexity for winning yet again and showing why they are the top team in the world. And it goes back to Anaheim when I talked about them adding Clayster and how valuable he was to the team in terms of getting into setups, holding the setups, especially hardpoint, and it was just an amazing play by Complexity. I believe they only dropped one map. I think that's right, either one or two maps, but they were pretty much dominant. In the finals, they played a European team called TCM, and they had a really great run. They beat Optic and they beat Optic in the semifinals, but then they beat I don't know why I said Karma. They beat Impact in their pool play. So it was TCM against Complexity. TCM gave them, a little bit of a challenge, but not too much. The first map was Hardpoint on on Raid, and TCM actually came back and won that match. And if they were gonna win any matches or any maps, it was going to be that first map, because TCM just got done playing Optic in the semifinals, and they were warmed up versus Complexity, who that had a little bit more of a break because they had played previously. So I've noticed in these tournaments, when you have a little bit of a downtime, that first game, you're a little vulnerable because you're not properly warmed up. So I wasn't too surprised that TCM took that the first map on Hardpoint on on Raid. So, but then the next match was Search and Destroy, and Complexity dominated them 6-1. And then same thing on CTF on Slums. I believe, was this Slums? I think it was Slums. They completely dominated them again. And then the final map for the championship for Complexity was Yemen Hardpoint, and that one was a little close. They had a little hiccup on one of the hardpoints on, I think, Church, and they weren't able to take TCM out of that hardpoint, and I think they got the full 60 seconds or something, or 50 seconds. It was, and that made the match close. But this tournament was a little different. They banned the SMR. I'm not sure why, because I don't really see any pros using the SMR. And the Sentry Gun was also banned from this tournament, and no LMGs. So my observation from having watched a couple of professional tournaments is that by and large, in terms of gun skills, there's not a huge separation. And I mean, obviously, there's definitely some players are, a little better than others, but in terms of overall gun skills, they're pretty good. It's more comes down to setups, positioning on the map, rotations on hardpoint, how you set up on Search and Destroy. Same thing with Capture the Flag, because in this game you die so fast. The person that has a better, or the team that has a better setup, usually has an advantage. So I've seen one of the top players on TCM, Monks, go from going like 30 and 15, and the next match where they don't have map control, he goes like 15 and 30, just the opposite. So like I said, gun skills very important in the game, but a lot of the pros, have relatively similar gun skills. So a lot of it depends on your mental toughness as well as your strategy and setups. And one thing I did notice with complexity is I don't know if I talked to you guys before, but a lot of the teams have coaches. I think the coaches break down. It's sort of like any team sports. You need one person to sort of bring a philosophy and strategy. Otherwise, a team of individuals is just not going to win. And I noticed, complexity currently has probably the best. I'm not saying the best coach, but in terms of best strategy setups, they have right now. They have it all. They're not only they have the emotional aspect of it, where before Clayster, they were sort of a very quiet team, not really very emotional, but Clayster really brought that factor into them, as well as obviously his assault rifle, gun skills, and able to anchor various points for all the game modes. And then as far as impact, they did play a little better this time around, but again, they're missing something right now. After they lost to complexity, and they're just missing something. I think they need to go back to the drawing board and figure out each player's role and their strategy, because they're getting outplayed on a more regular basis than they did before. And then let me talk about Optic. Optic's biggest problem is that they don't have a very good strategy, or I don't know if Hex is the coach, but if it's Hex, they need to bring in a new coach, because compared to Complexity, Impact, and even TCM, they're really lagging far behind. They're sort of relying a lot on, they're pretty good at CTF and Search and Destroy, because those were old game types that they've played a million times before, and that's something that they're sort of naturally good at it. But even then, they're not as cohesive as a lot of these top, basically, let's say the top two teams, Impact and Complexity. I think Optics is probably either third or fourth best in the world right now, and I think they need to really, if they really want to consistently win championships, I really believe they need to practice more as a team and come up with a better strategy, because I think a lot of the players are, especially Scumpy and Nate, are more focused on YouTube. It seems like a lot of times, I see Nate playing online quite a bit, streaming, and like a lot, especially solo. And I don't know how that really helps as far as playing as a pro team, because that's just playing league play or not, that's not going to prepare you for league play. And I feel like some of these other teams are perhaps practicing a little more, doing more scrims, devising, coming up with strategies and whatnot. And I'm not sure if it's because Optics team, the team is sort of young, on the younger side, and it seems like Complexity has a more mature attitude when it comes to playing pro tournaments and whatnot. And I don't see anyone taking down, like at Columbus, obviously Complexity is going to be favored, and I don't really see anyone taking them down unless these other teams get, like, it's Impact and Optic and Envious. Oh, and talking about Envious, Stainville got, I don't know if he got dropped from the team or he left the team, but Envious, they're looking like a third tier team right now, so they need to figure their stuff out, because they came in second in the COD championships, and ever since then, I don't know what's going on with that team. But anyways, again, another great professional tournament. It seems like it's getting better and better, and I think like the hard points bring out the most exciting like endings compared to I mean, Search and Destroy. I always love Search and Destroy, but it seems like Hardpoint had some great endings in this tournament. Like 3-5 point separations and certain maps. It's just great to watch. Anyways, thanks for watching the video, and hope you guys are doing good, and talk to you guys later. Bye.
UAV on standby.